Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. We got another episode for you today regarding hip hop and regarding statements made towards a young artist in the game named Skilla Baby. He's a Detroit based rapper. Now, I must admit, I've never heard any of his music, but he's made a comment this recent past week in regards to hip hop being a young man's game. So I'm going to dissect those statements and kind of go through, um, kind of debunk the myth that he kind of put out there about hip hop being a young man's game. Now, to play both sides, he said rap is a young man's game, which, like I said, rap. I mean, if you want to play semantics, rap can be a young man's game because, like I said, it's just about rhyming words. But when you involve hip hop and what hip hop means to um, the purists and what hip hop means to true music fans. It's any man's game because it's about telling your story and it's about telling your perspective and how you were raised and how you grew up and what molded you. So you don't have to be under 25 to do so, or you don't have to be under 30 years old to do so. It's just about your narrative and what you went through. So I think he was a little bit misinformed when he said, rap is a young man's game, which he has a right to his opinion, but look into stuff before you make these statements. That's what a lot of the young artists and a lot of young celebrities today make those mistakes. I covered Anthony Edwards' comments about his era being the best era of NBA and like how he said the older players wasn't skilled, which is just not necessarily true. But like I said, he's one of those celebrities, athletes that's under 25. So they kind of like just, jump from the hip and don't kind of research things and just kind of blurt things out. Sometimes I believe it's for shock value, but nevertheless, it's kind of irresponsible. Um, so Skilla Baby, like I said, I never heard any of his music, but I did a little research on him. He's only 25, and it looks like he'll be 26 sometime next week. So he's still fairly young, but he's not a spring chicken in the hip hop game itself. He's not one of those. He won't be considered like a Kai Sonata or Aiden Ross, young type of young. Pretty soon, after 25, they kind of consider you older anyway. So I don't know if he's trying to price himself out of the game, but um, I just wanted to go through some, like I said, debunk some of those, um, the myth that he put out there that rap's a young man's game. Um, so let me preface what I'm about to say by saying that he did make a comment saying that, you can't, nobody wants to hear what you have to say after 40. You still want to be a kingpin. You still want to be the street dude. Just go out and have kids and don't put this music out, which is, you know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, people had that perspective and that was the consensus. But now most of the prominent hip hop artists today are, 30 and older. I can go through a few of those names for you. Well, I actually have more than a few. Jay-Z, he's at 54. He can put out an album today. It's going to go platinum at some point before the next calendar year hits. Nas, he's 51. He's still prominent in the game. He's dropped albums over the last several years consistently, and he won a Grammy a couple years back. Um, the rapper of the game. I know a lot of people are kind of down on him right now just from comments he says, but he's still prominent in the game. 44 years old, still raps like when he was in his 20s. Maybe even better in my opinion. He's one of my top 10 favorite rappers. 2 Chainz, he's 47 years old. His audience is pretty much younger. He still raps about the same things he did when he was in his 20s. Ti, he's 44, but he kind of veered away from hip hop to do comedy. But if Ti dropped the album today, he's gonna go gold or platinum within a year. Um, Future, they brung him up in the interview as well. He's 40 years old. He just dropped an album last Friday, which I'm pretty sure. Well, I think it's projected to do close to 200,000 the first week. That's still relevant. Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is 42 years old. If he goes on concert today, um, he'll sell out that concert. He was, you know, allegedly projected to be a Super Bowl headliner before Kendrick Lamar was offered the Super Bowl. He's A lot of people spoke up for him. Kendrick Lamar. I mean, not Kendrick Lamar, but Lil Wayne is still prominent today. He still raps about the same thing he did when he was in his teens. Um, Drake and Kendrick Lamar are both 37. Um, the biggest story line of 2024 was Drake and Kendrick Lamar's rap beef. Still relevant, still raps and sings about the same thing they did when they first got in the game, when they were in their 20s. Andre 3K, he's 49, but he veered off to do like a flute album or something. But if he dropped the album today, that's going to be the most anticipated album still, and he can still rap about the same things he did when he was in his 20s. Killer Mike just won a Grammy for his album Michael. He's 49 years old, still relevant today, more relevant than he was when he probably was in his 20s. Jeezy and Ross are 47 and 48 respectively. These guys, especially Ross, he still raps about drugs and how he used to sell drugs and being in the streets. Everybody still listens to Ross. He drops the album today, it's gonna be more relevant. So I say all these things to say this. If you notice, every artist I said they're still relevant today and they're well over 30. So I say all that just to say when you make timeless music, it doesn't matter how old you are. If the people can relate to what you're saying, it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. If you make the music, they're gonna feel it. And if they feel it, it doesn't matter about all that other stuff. Now today it matters because for the younger generation, because their audience is younger and their audience is fickle. So they can have a hit song today and nobody will listen to it tomorrow. But me, I've always been the person, if somebody had a hit single, I didn't veer off from them. I listened to their next album at least to see what they have to say. Um, People like I love McConan. He had a good album. Well, he had that good single Tuesday, and people kind of just like, was like, oh well, he's just a one hit wonder, but they never listened to the rest of his music. And he recently retired, unfortunately. But I think he didn't get a fair chance to, um, you know, to blossom in the game and to for his fans to evolve because he had fickle fans. So when you have fickle fans, you have to have a certain look. You have to be a certain age. You have to have a certain persona. But the true hip hop is based off the lyricism and your ability to tell a story. So you could been a bomb on the street and be able to still tell your story and still be able to relate to the people and be relevant. But today, like I said, the fans are a lot fickle. It's a digital era. Um, Most of these fans they never went out and bought a CD. They never stood in line to have to buy a CD. Only thing they had to do was wait till midnight for an album to release and for them to listen. So they never had to go through anything to listen to these artists that realized how much hip hop meant to them. Um, and a lot of these artists have ventured off into the other avenues as well. So um, if you want to say rap or hip hop is a young man's game in that respect, then yeah, you can say that because, like I said, once most of the artists I named put out 10+ albums, thousands of songs, thousands of features. So of course, music is not their top, uh, not their most lucrative venture, but they venture off into other stuff, and album and music has somewhat become secondary, but it's always become their first love, what got them into the game. Younger kids today, they think they can just eat off of hip hop. No, it doesn't work. The sales are not like that today. So for you to go to platinum to go gold is a miracle now today. I think a couple years back, I want to say it was 2 years ago, they didn't have a platinum selling artist until damn like the fourth quarter of 2022, I do believe. So music is not the most lucrative, but like I said, when you love what you do, you can always come back to it and be respected. Um, and I read a comment somebody had put about this interview, or what Skilla Baby said in this interview was no other genre does this but hip hop. So you don't see country music artists saying, "Well, Garth Brooks is 50 years old. Um, he's not, That's a country music is a young man's game. Nobody wants to see him talking about whatever at 50. Nobody does this with gospel. Say, BB and CC Winans are well into their 60s now, or they're kind of washed up. Nobody says this. They're in other genres. When you get older, you get more respected. A Dolly Parton today is more valuable than she probably was 30 years ago because she's respected in the game. She put their time in. But it seems like in hip hop, the farther you go, you get disrespected by um, the younger artists and younger audience. Younger artists don't realize what a LL Cool J or a Big Daddy Kane did for hip hop. Instead you want to say, "Oh, this guy's old. He shouldn't be rapping. He's washed up." No, just show the guys their respect and move forward. You don't have to disrespect someone just because you're younger. You'll get older one day too if you're lucky. So it's all. I think that's one of the flaws I think of hip hop and just black society. Period. When you get older, you get more disrespected instead of getting honored for what you've done and being able to make it to where you've made it to. Because, like I said, it's hard work um, get into old age. So it should be commended. I mean, it should be congratulated and not condemned. But it's not just like I said. It's just not hip hop. It's just black. Um, it's just black society. Period. Like um, Aiden Ross tried, disrespected Joe Budden. But if it wasn't for a Joe Budden, it might not have ever been a Aiden Ross. Maybe not in this avenue. Joe Budden was kind of the first person to get on the internet wave and to do this kind of live streaming type stuff. But you should pay homage to that and not to try to disrespect people's. Like I said, he said Joe Budden was old and all this stuff. But it's a blessing to get to that age, and you should be trying to look forward to getting to that age, trying to find out what they did to get to where they got to, instead of disrespecting people. Like I said, uh, you don't see Pat McAfee disrespecting Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith. He pays homage to those guys and being able to, he's able to eat after his career from the NFL and be more successful than he was in the NFL and his post life, and it's probably made more. Yeah, definitely made more money. So, like I said, you can learn a lot from paying homage to people and being a good student of the game. Um, Skilla Baby, like I said, I have no interest really in listening to his music. He's more of a club type music guy. So, I think you just need to pay homage to the game and show some respect to the game, especially when you don't have any records or albums that are classic, or you don't have anything um, worth noting in the game. You should definitely pay homage and try to figure out how to get to where those people are. And when I say are, they still are there. Just because they're old, they're not irrelevant. Any of those artists I just named, if they put out an album today, like I said, nobody's gonna listen to Skilla Baby over Nas, Jay Z, um, Lil Wayne, Drake, or Kendrick. So it's just a fact of the matter. So tell me your thoughts on this. That was a topic I was thinking about throughout the week. There's a lot of different components to it, but I think for the most part he was wrong in his comments. But let me know what you think about about this topic. Thanks for tuning in.